Story essentials: character, conflict, stakes. Vital components. We're going to define and discuss the importance of the essential components of what makes a story more than just a bunch of sentences strung together. Think of these as the glue that holds your story together and brings it to life. Character list: main character, protagonist. Secondary characters, including the love interest, if there is one. Supporting characters, enemy, antagonist. As I'm brainstorming and outlining, I compile as many details as I can about the main characters, secondary characters, and the enemy antagonist. What they look like, what they eat, what they like, dislike, their favorites, where they went to school, their jobs, etc. It's helpful to know these things because if they have to take action, make a decision, or even in dialogue, you'll have a better understanding of how they'll respond authentically. For example, and this is an duh one, but if your main character was bitten by a dog as a child, it's unlikely the meet cute with the love interest will involve her running into him in the park and asking to pet his dog. On the other hand, she might be terrified, but the dog loves her. Identify each of the following for each main character. Character goal, what the character wants. Character motivation, why the character wants the object of their goal. Character needs, the character thinks they know what they want, but oftentimes pursuing it is preventing them from the change they need to undergo in order to become who they're meant to be, which resolves the problems in the plot. Character flaw. This can be a fault, limitation, or problem that makes them relatable, real, and is often what interferes with them achieving their goal. Ultimately, they'll change according to their character arc. A couple of notes here. Every story has a central main character. In the case of romance, there's also a love interest, who can be a secondary main character. Everyone else is a supporting character or an enemy antagonist who has their own goals, motivations, and needs, but often aren't the focus of the plot, though they may come into play and intersect with the main characters. So it's important to know these as well. Conflict. The conflict is what prevents the character from achieving their goal. There is often an internal conflict and an external conflict. The internal conflict relates to what the main character has to overcome related to their character flaws. The external conflict is related to outside forces acting upon the character, which they may have to combat in order to accomplish their goal. These are usually obstacles and the influences of other characters that come into play, along with challenges that further prevent the main character from achieving their goal. In this way, the main character is forced to face whatever it is that they need in order to grow or risk the stakes. The stakes. The stakes are the consequences if the character doesn't achieve their goal. The consequences can be positive or negative, life or death. They tell the reader why they should care about what happens to the main character and their world, making them personal and universal at the same time. Additional, the stakes and conflict are directly related to the main character. In other words, they're the only one who can resolve the problem of the plot. Prep before you write. Before I start writing and outlining, I do my best to identify each of these items. Occasionally, they're not entirely clear and only fully emerge as I'm writing. And just as it's important to know what characters look like, their family lives, and the work they do, etc., in order for them to be three-dimensional people who come alive on the page, having a deep understanding of their inner workings and yearnings richens the reader's experience.